Who? Buddha. More than the intelligence. Parata. Superior. To. But. Saha. He. Translation. The working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses, intelligence is still higher than the mind, and he, the soul. And some translators translate he as kama, the lust, is even higher than the intelligence. So the second interpretation doesn't leave us too much hope in our spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada, he takes he as the soul, because Krishna doesn't specify. He says Saha, he, purport by Srila Prabhupada. And it's actually, even Ramanuja Acharya, I think he translates he as come, as last. Purport. The senses are different outlets for the activities of lust. Lust is reserved within the body, but it is given vent through the senses. Therefore, the senses are superior to the body as a whole. These outlets are not in use when there is superior consciousness or Krishna consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, the soul makes direct connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the hierarchy of bodily functions, as described here, ultimately ends in the Supreme Soul. Bodily action means the functions of the senses, and the stopping the senses means stopping all bodily actions. But since the mind is active, then even though the body may be silent and at rest, the mind will act as it does during dreaming. But above the mind is the determination of the intelligence. The above intelligence is the soul proper. If therefore the soul is directly engaged with the Supreme, naturally all other subordinates, namely the intelligence, mind, and the senses, will be automatically engaged. In the Katha Upanishad, there is a similar passage in which it is said that the objects of sense gratification are superior to senses. The mind is superior to the sense objects. If therefore the mind is directly engaged in the service of the Lord constantly, then there is no chance that the senses will become engaged in other ways. This mental attitude has already been explained. Param drishtva nivartate. If the mind is engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is no chance of its being engaged in the lower propensities. In the Katha Upanishad, the soul has been described as Mahan, the great. Therefore, the soul is above all, namely the sense objects, the senses, the mind, and the intelligence. Therefore, directly understanding the constitutional position of the soul is the solution to the whole problem. So Srila Prabhupada gives us the solution. Directly understanding the constitutional position of the soul, which is superior to the whole system, is the solution to the whole problem, the problem of uncontrolled lust. With intelligence, one has to seek out the constitutional position of the soul and then engage the mind always in Krishna consciousness. That solves the whole problem. A neophyte spiritualist is generally advised to keep aloof from the objects of the senses. But aside from that, one has to strengthen the mind by use of intelligence. If by intelligence one engages one's mind in Krishna consciousness by complete surrender into the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then automatically the mind becomes stronger. And even though the senses are very strong, like serpents, they will be no more effective than the serpent with broken fangs. But even though the soul is the master of intelligence and mind, and the senses also, still, unless it is strengthened by association with Krishna in Krishna consciousness, there is every chance of falling down due to the agitated mind. Srila Prabhupada ki Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Parishimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Name Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prasharine Nirvishesha Shinavadi Paschatya Shukarine Panchakalpatarudescha Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Ajanuvamrita Bhujao Kanakavadatu Sankirtanai Kapitalo Kamalaya Taksa Vishwambaro Bija